Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KB. We are back once again to bring you a weekly recap, this time of Monday Night Raw, which took place on April 6th in Houston, Texas, at the Toyota Center. And we are just 12 days away from WrestleMania 42. Getting into this episode of Raw, we see a bit of a change of pace from recent weeks where CM Punk has closed every show. This time he kicks off the show. You can tell he's in a foul mood, and if it wasn't obvious by his pace and demeanor, he tosses his World Heavyweight Championship belt into the ring and immediately sets down in his pipe bomb position. Punk then goes on to say he's not a buck-toothed Nepo baby whose family bailed him out because he's bad at football. He also mentioned that he wasn't eating dog food for the business. Punk also tells McAfee that he wrote a check he can't cash, so calling out him as well for that promo he had on Friday. He then goes on to say that he should tell his agent to lower the prices at Mania so all these people in Houston can come watch him step on Roman's throat. So, a pretty good pipe bomb here. Obviously, I don't think will live up to his, the pipe bomb, but definitely deserves a worthy mention here. It seems like we're going to keep this trend of breaking the fourth wall, which honestly I'm all here for. Maybe they should have done that a bit sooner, instead of the last 2 weeks. But regardless, that makes his last 2 weeks that much more interesting. I'm all here for it. Definitely a promo worth checking out if you haven't already. After we've been treading water for a few weeks with this promo, and this week, obviously, Roman's not even there, which say what you want. Punk is at least there every week, and he does hit on that quite a bit as well. So, this was a nice way to continue that feud without Roman, and Punk obviously always holding his own on the mic. Our first matchup of the evening has Austin Theory with Logan Paul and a reluctant IShowSpeed going one-on-one with LA Knight. LA Knight trying to get some redemption after he was clocked with those brass knuckles last week, even if unintentionally caused. He did so in causing the Usos to lose their World Tag Team Championship. It was a decent contest, which sees Logan Paul push speed into LA Knight, and then he tries to run away but is confronted by the Usos as he's trying to run backstage, who then chase him back down to the ring. LA Knight follows and is then rolled up by Theory from behind to get the win. After the match, LA Knight proposes the match we've all been hearing about on social media, and that is will be the Usos and LA Knight going up against the Visions, Theory and Logan Paul, joined by IShowSpeed. Adam Pearce comes out, and although he did tell him to go home earlier in the night, he did not listen. So therefore, he does make this a match official for WrestleMania. And I might be in the minority for this one, but I do think this match could be a ton of fun. Even if you argue, that this is a product of a bunch of injuries, is the only reason we're getting this match, and another perhaps unnecessary celebrity involvement. I think this could be a ton of fun. I've said it in weeks before. I think IShowSpeed is almost a cartoonish character, and I think he has a ton of charisma, and I think he obviously is a highlight reel. We've seen, kind of that already take place in prior events that he has showed up on, even on the event that they did on his Twitch. He had a pretty funny moment that they showed earlier in the evening with LA Knight. So I think this could be a fun 3-on-3 match at Mania. In our next match, or at least was supposed to be a match. It was going to feature Finn Balor going one-on-one with JD McDonough. Instead, sees Dominic Mysterio attacking Finn on his way down the ramp. And although Finn was able to hold off the Judgment Day for a bit, in the end, the numbers game was too much for the Prince. A gentle reminder that we are going to get Finn and Dominic at Mania. However, Finn, will have to figure out a way to overcome the numbers game, which he's now on the wrong side of. Interestingly enough, he was always on the other side of that for so long. But I don't know how he's going to do it, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, in just 12 short days. At least that was my thinking as I'm watching this. However, later in the evening, we see Finn cut a promo where he is not surprised what happened earlier in the evening because Dom learned from the best and he just got a dose of his own medicine. But we then see the camera kind of zoom in and saying, Finn basically alluding to he has another side that he can bring up. And we see kind of a very short glimpse of the demon kind of covering his eye there. Very kind of cool bit there. And as if that match wasn't going to be good enough already on its own. It looks like we are going to get the demon back at Mania. I think some people might say, is it worthy of bringing out the demon? But I for one will never complain about it. And if that is the way to get him back to a title by beating Dom, I'm all for it. And another segment that was supposed to be one thing that ends up being something else. We see the women's Intercontinental Champion AJ Lee being interviewed by Michael Cole, but is caught off by AJ's challenger at Mania, Becky Lynch. Becky kind of shoos off Michael Cole. Michael Cole's not in the mood to deal with it. A few more exchanges here, and once again, AJ seems to have the exact path, the exact way figured out to get under Becky's skin once again, claiming that her daughter's favorite wrestler isn't the man, it's AJ Lee. Definitely not anything too groundbreaking here. Just a gentle reminder once again, common theme throughout the evening. Just one more kind of promo reminding us that we are getting that match. Both these guys can cut a great promo, so interesting enough, but definitely not groundbreaking here. And another announcement we get shortly after this. It is announced that tomorrow on ESPN at 9:35 a.m. Central Standard Time, SmackDown's own Joe Tessitore will announce all the WrestleMania matches, and they will also be telling us which night they will appear on. So keep your eyes locked on that episode of Get Up tomorrow on ESPN. In our next match, we see Bayley going one-on-one with one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions and that of Lash Legend ahead of that Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match set to take place at WrestleMania 42. As expected, though, we do see another team get involved here. This time is Charlotte and Alexa. Haven't seen the Bellas. I think I might have heard they might have some sort of injury between the two of them. I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, we do get another tag team, kind of the same thing we've been seeing. Recycled story there. Nia, of course, interfered first, but this time Lyra does kind of help Bayley after she has Lash pinned down. She holds Lash's other leg down, and so kind of returning the favor there, and that helped keep Lash down like Bayley was able to get the pin for the win. So kind of righting the wrong that I feel like they did last week. I guess if you want to do the 50-50 booking, I guess it makes sense, or at least it's, better, I guess. But not much of a match here, and kind of more of the same. Just once again, another friendly reminder that we are going to get that match. And if the Bellas are injured, I guess we'll have to wait and find that out. I don't understand why they wouldn't be here otherwise. So have to keep our eyes on that one. Our next segment of the evening features Seth Rollins ahead of his match with Gunther at WrestleMania. He says he's officially back, has been waiting for 6 months to hear us sing his song. Seth, much like us, has been trying to figure out what exactly the beef Gunther has with him, and the only answer he could come up with is that he has some sort of agreement or some sort of business arrangement with that of Paul Heyman. Seth says that he came back with two things in mind: one, to win that World Heavyweight Championship, and the other, to take down Division. Gunther then enters the fray as a brawl ensues between the two until they are separated by WWE officials as the Houston crowd once again sings his song as Gunther retreats to the back. Interestingly enough, the bit doesn't quite stop there, as we do kind of follow Gunther backstage. He is then confronted by Paul Heyman himself, who simply says thank you, and Gunther responds saying, "You owe me much more than a thank you." So adding a bit of a curve to that whole thing. It could end up being nothing, but Paul Heyman likes to keep his hands dirty in all the pots. So I suppose, honestly, I'm okay with this match on its own. I was looking forward to it on its own. But maybe there's a bit more to the story, so we'll have to wait and see on that one as well. Our next match of the evening is a 6-man tag match, which features our Intercontinental Champion Penta, who is tagging with Dragon Lee and Javon Evans, who are also going to be involved in that Intercontinental ladder match at WrestleMania, going up against the Los Americanos, Rayo Bravo, and the authentic El Grande Americano. The good guys show up, show out here. The high flying is nonstop, as you might expect with the teams that are involved here. And if you are staying up to date with the push, you know that both KP and I have been loving everything AAA and or Luchador related. This match is no exception. This match was a ton of fun, and honestly, I'm at the point where I think we just need to give them their own division in WWE. They always kill it. This match, again, no exception. It's almost like a contest, like who, anything you can do, I can do better. It's kind of the vibe I get from it, but it's always just a ton of fun. And some of the spots they do are just absolutely insane. After the match, however, though, we do see Rey Mysterio, who says this ladder match is missing just one person, Rey Mysterio. So he basically includes himself. Penta obviously accepts, and but I did think he was injured, and I thought that whole bit was originally supposed to be Rey going up against Gunther. I had heard some rumors, something along the lines of Rey either was injured and or didn't want to be retired by Gunther. He wanted to save that for Dom, kayfabe, whatnot, have you. regardless, I think this match is going to be fun and already kind of on its face. And so you add a Hall of Famer in Rey Mysterio, obviously it's going to be that much better. Our next match of the evening has Rhea Ripley and Io Sky going up against Jade Cargill's henchwomen, as they were described on this episode of Raw, as B-Fab and Michin, of course, with the WWE Women's Champion Jade Cargill at ringside. Another match that really doesn't get much time before Jade gets involved, but at least, not before the match gets a clean finish, as Io does roll up B-Fab to get the win here for whatever that's worth. The bigger story, however, though, shortly after, Jade, B-Fab, and Michin take out Io, and then Rhea gets involved, but then she also gets taken out by the numbers game. A pretty intense scene here. Definitely kind of step up a notch from where this rivalry had been going into Raw. Rhea is held up against the corner of the ring by B-Fab and Michin, as Jade then brutally assaults Io with that kendo stick and gets ejected for her troubles, as Rhea watches on, still kind of contained by Michin and B-Fab. So this was by far the most interesting bit in this feud so far. Obviously, hadn't been lighting the world on fire on its own anyways, but clearly Jade kind of playing some mind games here and definitely kind of kicking up that rivalry a notch, which was absolutely needed to this point. We then see the Judgment Day backstage once again. We see JD, Dom, and then we see Liv and Raquel. Liv asks Raquel for a minute once Roxy arrives so they can discuss something a bit further. Liv makes sure that Roxy understands that even though Finn brought her to the Judgment Day, kind of talking about that, referring to that elephant in the room, he had to be kicked out. Roxanne definitely doesn't look like she's on the same page with Liv, but we don't get much more out of that, at least from that perspective, because Vaquer then comes from behind, knocks Liv into Roxy, and this is not a light hit either. This is a pretty brutal spot. Roxanne kind of gets knocked on her ass, and then Liv then gets slammed into the TV by Vaquer and shatters the TV. Like I said, pretty brutal spot. And Vaquer is very much someone that, you could say the same about Liv. Neither of these women have really gotten a ton of screen time, or kind of build to this rivalry. But I'd be lying if I said every single time, even though the time is limited, every time Vaquer gets a moment to be on TV, she's arguably making the very most out of it. Every time she's on there, it feels very personal and very intense. And so I'm looking forward to this match. I think it could be kind of a sneakily be match of the night, because it clearly is a lot of heat between these two. And then you potentially have this now added dimension of Roxy. And I think she's been a little too quiet for my liking lately too. Obviously, we still have the beef between them as well. So I think there's tons of ways that match could go, and you have that on its face, and then you have just this very personal feeling, making the most out of the very little time they're getting, Liv and Vaquer. I think that could be a really good one, so I'm really looking forward to that one at Mania. We then see our main event segment of the evening, which is a contract signing between Oba and the Beast. Adam Pearce and Triple H make their way down to the ring and start to introduce Brock, but of course is interrupted by Paul Heyman. Such a busy man is Paul. Then enters the ruler, Oba Femi, as the crowd can barely wait for his arrival. I say it every week, this man is so over. Even Seth Freakin' Rollins announces that earlier in the evening, saying that Oba is the future. Can't wait to see that match, hopefully within the next year or so, Seth and Oba. I said it to kick off the show, but now it's especially true. This much more deserves to be in this main event slot over the Roman Punk feud. Even though Punk's promo was great tonight, it honestly feels like people care more about this match than they do that world heavyweight title match. So you can disagree with that if you'd like, but that's kind of how I feel based on what I've seen. And also it feels like most of the crowd are kind of more into that as well. So as Oba enters the ring, Brock attacks him, and this ends up being a brawl. Pierce quickly motions to bring down security. Nothing really added to the feud, but again, would prefer this match, or this segment, over the Roman Punk bit. This entire show was absolute chaos. And I don't think it was supposed to end that way. Maybe it was. But it felt like that was kind of a very abrupt ending to this kind of final segment. But yeah, whatever. I guess best case scenario, they're probably just gonna throw each other around, maybe throw some security around. So I don't think it probably would have changed much either, but definitely feels like a better way to end the show. Looking forward to Oba taking out the Beast at WrestleMania. That should be a ton of fun. But yeah, that's Monday Night Raw here, recapped and all. Yeah, in terms of match quality, unfortunately, is kind of more of the same of what we have been seeing. Definitely the highlight being the six-man tag between the IC champion and challengers, and then going up against Los Americanos. Definitely the highlight of the night by far. But for whatever reason, we didn't really get much in terms of match quality other than that, which, I say it every week. I would prefer a little bit more wrestling, but at least this Raw has something that the other ones haven't, and that is kind of stepping up a notch when it comes to these rivalries and feuds. Definitely makes it feel like we are more in Mania season. So for that, you kind of take a little bit of the bad with some more good. So it kind of balance each other out a bit. I would like to see a bit more wrestling, but I understand that, I think we can say what we want about a lot of these feuds and the lack of build that we've seen, but I think we kind of stepped it up a notch throughout this episode of Raw. And further to that, I think sneakily, I think even though the builds haven't been very good, I think a lot of the matches that are set to take place at Mania could absolutely be very, very good. So looking forward to Mania, although the builds haven't been great. I think we did see kind of that all of those kicked up a notch throughout this episode of Raw. So enough of us over here at the push. What did you all make of this episode of Raw? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, this has been the push with Nick and KP. We'll see you soon. Take care.